Sup y'all, and welcome to Religions of the World, Part 1. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the religions that dominate South, East, and Southeast Asia. We'll start by looking at one of the oldest religions, Hinduism, which diffused from its origin in the Indus River Valley around 900 BCE. The Vedas are written books of poems, hymns, prayers, and prescribed rituals. They were compiled by Brahmins, or priests, transmitted verbally for centuries, then written in Sanskrit around 600 BCE. The Vedas conveyed knowledge for living virtuously. The Upanishads, another set of holy texts, were philosophical works to decipher the inner meanings of the sacrifices and writings mentioned in the Vedas, written around 800 to 400 BCE. The Upanishads stated that Brahman, the world soul and ultimate reality, was a unitary energy infusing everything in the universe. Atman, the human soul, was part of Brahman, and the final goal of humankind was moksha, or liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. It is the final union with Brahman, and has been described as a bubble rising, breaking through the surface, and becoming one with the air. And moksha can be achieved in multiple ways. Studying, detaching from the world, or devotion to a deity are all ways to reach the ultimate goal. Brahman is sometimes viewed as having personalities of three gods: Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and Shiva, the destroyer. Many other deities have also gained importance over time, depending on the region. Samsara refers to the cycle of reincarnation. The Atman migrates from one body to another over numerous lifetimes, and one situation improves depending on actions while living. This is known as karma, and this concept helped entrench the caste system with rigid social groups, each one having its purpose, or dharma, meaning your duty. Indian culture was strongly patriarchal. Women were often forbidden to learn the Vedas, they were excluded from rituals, and taught to serve their husbands as gods, even told to never remarry when the husband dies. Siddhartha Gautama was a prince from a northern Indian state. He was sheltered for most of his young life, but was appalled at witnessing the deep impoverishment of so many people. He set out on a journey seeking wisdom, and it is told that he received a vision while sitting under the Bodhi tree, meaning enlightenment. As such, he became the first Buddha, or enlightened one. A key element of Buddhism is dukkha, or the suffering associated with craving fulfillment. There are 4 noble truths. 1. That life is suffering. 2. The origin of suffering is craving. 3. The cessation of suffering means an end of all desires. And 4. To achieve this, one has to follow the Noble Eightfold Path, consisting of the right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Essentially, one is supposed to live a modest and moral life. And different from Hinduism, you can achieve enlightenment in a single lifetime, which is nirvana. But similar to Hinduism, life is actually an illusion. Additionally, Buddhism shares the concepts of karma, reincarnation, meditation, and patriarchy. There is no belief in God or gods. Also, Buddhists rejected castes, stating that spiritual awakening was available to all, and this egalitarian message appealed to the lower castes as well as women. Over time, Buddhism gained even more Indian followers. For instance, Ashoka of the Mauryan Empire. Theravada Buddhism means the teaching of elders. It required intense self-effort. As such, many monks and nuns went to monasteries. They believed the Buddha was wise, but not divine. However, Buddhism didn't spread greatly until the emergence of a new branch, Mahayana Buddhism, meaning great vehicle. They believed that other Buddhists could help you on your path, and the Buddha became divine. Nirvana could be better achieved through acts of devotion, such as supporting a monastery or building a shrine. Unlike Hinduism, which was an ethnic religion in which one is born into, Buddhists, and mostly Mahayana, shared and spread their beliefs, making it a universalizing religion. Over time, Buddhism's original hearth, in northern India, grew to become more Hindu. However, Buddhism spread to take root and even dominate other regions, such as China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Now, Confucius, who lived from 551 to 479 BCE, is extremely vital to know because to understand Confucius is to understand Chinese culture and history. He was a teacher who wrote the Analects, a collection of his teachings and writings which had profound influence after his death. Counter to legalism, he stated that order should be maintained through the moral example of superiors, not laws and punishments. Confucius emphasized 5 relationships between ruler and subject, father and son, husband and wife, older brother and younger brother, and friend and friend. The superior must exhibit ren, the virtue of goodness, benevolence, and altruism. Only then would the inferior be motivated to be obedient. As he stated, grass must bend when the wind blows across it. This applied to rulers, fathers, husbands, etc., but always males. Education was key to moral improvement, along with rituals and ceremonies. Influenced heavily by Confucianism, the Han Dynasty, which ruled from 206 BCE to 220 CE, the world's first civil service program was enacted. Students studied for examinations to gain official positions. Another major aspect of Confucianism is filial piety, respect for parents, elders, and ancestors. And this was the model for Chinese politics and society. Also, it was rigidly patriarchal. Confucianism also valued history. It was necessary to look to past wisdom and revere one's ancestors. A final aspect of Confucianism was that it was secular, or non-religious. It was not totally atheistic. Confucius himself acknowledged the existence of gods and spirits, but the teachings were clearly worldly and not existential. Another major religion that emerged in ancient China was Taoism, founded by Lao Tzu, sometimes pronounced as Lao Tzu. Around the 6th century BCE, he wrote the Tao Te Ching, meaning the way and its power. However, many authors likely contributed to this work over the centuries. Lao Tzu was said to have vanished into the western wilderness on a water buffalo, never to be seen or heard from again. In many ways, Taoism is counter-Confucianism. It was anti-education, and people were encouraged to withdraw into the world, away from schools and work. Tao means the way, of nature. One shouldn't allow schedules to run your life. You should be natural and spontaneous. Taoists sometimes lived in self-sufficient communities and were supposed to engage in quiet meditation. However, like Confucianism, the family was central to life. Emblematic of Taoism are yin and yang. They symbolize that seemingly opposite forces are complementary. Many dualities exist, such as light and dark, fire and water, hot and cold. Nonetheless, despite their differences, the whole is greater than the individual parts. One thing we will see in virtually all cultures is syncretism, or hybridization. There is usually cultural mixing in any civilization. Many Chinese embraced both major philosophies, Confucianism at work or school, Taoism at home, but they were constantly mixing both.
That is correct.